interesting for Ozzy Diaz to get the opportunity, man. Coming from the Contender Series, you get knocked out by Joe Pyfer, you rack up 2 knockout wins on the regional scene, and then you just get a shot, come to China and come fight. Right on, he took it. But Mingyang, I think it's interesting to open up as such a heavy favorite, minus 335 favorite at open. If we're looking at the current numbers right now, let's see what we're looking at. We are looking at, it crept up just a little bit. Odds have pretty much stayed the same on this one, right? But the reason that I say that is because if you go back and you watch his last victory, that TKO against Bredson Ribeiro, which was like a big win, right? He was getting chinned pretty nasty before he ultimately knocked him out. So I'm like, all right, one thing we know about Mingyang, he has the big shot, but he also has defensive liabilities. And when I watch Ozzy Diaz fight, I can see Ozzy Diaz exploiting a lot of those holes, man. Only problem is, it's coming up weight classes and all that good stuff. If you look at the shape that he's in right now, will he be the pace machine? Will he be the guy that's going to be walking forward? Or is he going to have to really stay at bay? Because if Mingyang hits, again, he's a really good check left fighter, big right hand down the pipe. If he lands, it could be good night. What do you think?
Yeah, especially because Mingyang is great in chaos. And I think that's what Ozzy Diaz needs to do to be able to get this fight to where he needs it. Create a little bit of that chaos because one thing I've noticed with Ozzy Diaz, he overextends with his rear hand. Whichever side he's throwing that rear hand with, he overextends a little, but that's going to lead him to be able to expect more takedowns or at least try and shoot for more takedowns going forward. And that's what he needs to do to nullify Mingyang's talent, man. I mean, this dude has great pressure, great striking at distance, powerful and wild in the pocket. So because of the amount of strikes he's taken, he's able to give some lumps, man. But if Ozzy Diaz can nullify that, get around that chaos that's going to be ensuing, I can see him exploiting the holes that Mingyang leaves open out there.
I'm just going to say one thing about both of these fighters. If you look at the records of the guys that they're beating, like you're not super impressed, but you're actually more impressed by Ozzy Diaz than you are about Mingyang. Mingyang is fighting dudes for 6-9, 1-3, 9-6. Then finally you got a 7-2, and then Ribeiro 15-5, right? But Ribeiro, we're seeing how he's performing on the UFC circuit. So all I'm saying is, man, Ozzy Diaz I think is a live dog here, but obviously the odds makers are looking at it and be like, you're tripping, man. Do you think this is going to be a closer fight than what the odds makers are determining?
Yeah, I do actually, Derek. Another one, I've said it all episode long. Asterisks are by all of these fighters because I do think Ozzy Diaz presents a good option, or I guess he has good options to be able to win this fight in different styles, right? Mingyang, he gets chinned up a little bit. He's able to be touched, as well as we need to see how he fares in a technical fight. And if Ozzy Diaz is able to provide that technical fight, not get into the street fight, not get into the chaos, he has the skills to be able to outshine right here.
All right, fair play right there, man. I don't want to jump too much into the degeneracy, AJ, but are you familiar with the point spread MMA betting?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So point spread MMA betting, folks that aren't aware, right? This is real degenerate stuff. Like normal people, we don't bet on this. We bet normal stuff. But for example, if you took Ozzy Diaz at plus 3.5 right here, all that you would need to win is if he makes this a close competitive fight, wins a couple of rounds, but still ends up losing the fight, like you win because this is a fight where clearly Mingyang should dominate this fight at the odds that he's at. Like this is one where I would bet that on Ozzy Diaz just because I think that's how live of a dog that he is. I do not bet Mingyang at this price. He is a consensus pick right here, but I think the consensus, AJ, is pick him just to win the fight, but don't bet on this guy. You know what I mean? Let's just kind of wait and see. There's better value that we provided with some of the other picks. Is that fair?
Absolutely fair, Derek. Hit the nail on the head.